everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Wi-Fi Pod. This is episode 68.
Woohoo!
Can you believe that? It's amazing.
We're doing
Look at
great.
us go. We're doing
Look
great.
at
I love
us.
it. I'm loving every second of it. Um, we got any front desks? What's going on? You don't like front desks anymore. You just want to get right to the straight topic of conversation.
Well, I mean, give the people what they're here for.
Isn't this like a peek behind the curtain, who we really are, kind of like
Are
not
they
in
here?
teacher mode?
Are they here for our goofing around? I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Probably
don't know
not.
either.
So let's dive into it. Let's get right to it. This week is about CEUs, continuing education units.
Units?
Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
yeah.
Oh, right on. Um, now I know very little since I'm not a certified yoga teacher, and so this is
Crazy.
like it is kind of crazy. I mean, I could probably should just send you a video, and I could be certified. Like I've seen enough of the. Are you okay?
You have taken our yoga teacher trainings like 12 times at this
Your
point.
face, you were just doing this. I didn't know what you were talking. I didn't know what was going through your head. So, yes, I feel like I have have witnessed and read through every part of every of the things. And if I just sent you 3 different videos, I would be 500 hours certified, probably easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but then I'll be
I
on the
mean,
sub list, and I have to teach a class if no one's there, and I don't know if I want to do that.
right, with great power comes great responsibility.
With great power comes minimal responsibility. Um,
With all of that. Yeah.
so once you
Well,
get now, is this a CEU is something you need to be thinking about after you're already 200 or 300 hour like trained? Like you're certified to teach. You have a 200 level training, you have a 300 level training. How often do you need to do a CEU, and what exactly is a CEU? I guess we should start there.
yeah, I mean, well, I think like the before even getting to the point where it's like, what are the rules? Because let's be
Mm.
honest, I don't care about rules. Um,
It's a mixed bag with you. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's so frustrating.
I just think like if you're going to be teaching, there should be a component of lifelong learning that happens. So I don't think we need to approach it from like, what do you have to do? Because sure, officially Yoga Alliance is going to say that you need X number of CEUs. I think it's 30 CEUs every 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I think it's beyond like some kind of oversight body that is deciding this is important for the integrity of the field of teaching yoga. I think it's
Right.
more about and truthfully, like I don't even think that people, I mean, hot take, I don't think that you should have to take a CEU that's necessarily like yoga, asana related. Like
Right.
for me, it's more about like if you're in the field of teaching, it's good to be in the role of the student
Mm.
with consistency.
Mm.
Which I
That's
think I
great.
I would say that like about teaching anything, like
Yeah.
we had to do if you're a public school teacher, there's depending on where you're teaching, often incentives to continuing your education and taking certain trainings along the way. Different medical modalities have requirements around licensure and staying up on CEUs. Like I think we could all probably agree that continuing to learn is a good idea.
Well, what's funny is you started that when you started this, I thought you were gonna be like anti a CEU, but you were like, oh no, I think being a lifelong learner is good. I knew you could play either side of the of like the good and the not so great about a CEU. So I guess I was expecting you to be like, here's why they suck.
No.
No, they seem, and they always seem. Now I say always because we were public school teachers, and I definitely
Mhm.
had to do some type of like,
Professional
not
development.
trainings, but yeah, professional development, which I loved the idea. I don't even remember what I did or what I like said, oh, this will count towards my professional development hours that I will need by 3 years from now.
Hmm.
But like there was always the, oh, I need to get this approved. And you're totally right. I mean, I never, it's like be a student of anything. Like I taught social studies. What if I wanted to take like a college level math course just because I felt like, oh, I've never like
Why not?
taken calculus. Why not? You know what I mean? And then,
Ew.
like the idea that it could be denied because it's not specifically like for your exact field and will use it is like the exact
Hmm.
opposite of what we try to teach, right? Like
Yeah.
it makes me think of you remember how when we were at MAU I would do the field trip to New York every year,
Yeah.
like the humanities teams, right?
Hmm.
And the first time we had to like really make a proposal to sell it to the school board, right? And it was just like how educational this is going to be, and here's the assignments, and it's there's math, English, science, and history classes, and we're all going to this, so we have to like basically justify it. And I remember creating the first time like a really in-depth, like long assignment. I'm like, here it is. It's so detailed, and they're gonna have to do so much. And it's the exact opposite of what we're trying to instill. Like you want someone to be like, oh, going to museum is fun. I wish I could instill this fun in you, so when in 5, 10, 20 years from now you're like, oh, I went to one once and it was a good time, let's do it again. And not like, oh yeah, it was fun, but like I had to do this big assignment and my teacher was a real butthead about it. And it's like, what? Yeah, the complete exact opposite. Like just doing it
Right.
for doing its sake is not something I feel like higher ups in education in a lot of ways value or prioritize.
Well, it must be the topic of the day because we were talking this morning outside under a different umbrella, but like that idea of, just being present and being in the present, doing the thing that you're doing in this moment without necessarily like it being goal oriented all the time. And
Mm.
so,
Oh yeah.
like, it doesn't matter necessarily what the outcome is of taking this CEU training. I mean, and if there's something that you want to incorporate into your teaching practice that you feel like you don't quite have a full enough understanding of it, then find a CEU in that particular topic. But like, I can't think of a thing that I have done since I started teaching yoga that hasn't somehow woven its way into teaching yoga
Right. Yeah.
because like it's on the mat, it's off the mat, it's part of life. Like you're either designing classes around it or it's inspiring if you can be
Hmm.
in the role of the student and your curiosity gets piqued and you start to get more creative when you're in the role of a student. Like, I mean, within reason, there's not great learning environments, right, where your curiosity is not encouraged, but I mean, ideally speaking, you when you can be in the because you're in the receiver role as opposed to the like doer
Mm.
action role that you have to take when you're a teacher. So what is filling your cup so that you're pouring from a full cup?
Yeah.
That's I feel like what CEUs are ultimately about is like filling your cup as someone who has to do a lot of output for other people a lot of the time.
Right. Filling your curiosity cup,
Inspiration cup,
inspiration cup,
creativity cup, so many cups.
knowledge. Well, you as you were talking, I thought about like how many times I would start a class teaching high school about either like sometimes like, yeah, here's the movie I just watched, or and it might have something to do with what we're about to talk about, or here's the book I'm reading, or here's the game I played, and it's just everything that I was just kind of doing that was got me excited. And
Hmm.
you know what? It's like not everything. And I think it's so much value in, let's say, diversifying. But like, yeah, if me as a history teacher was like, oh my God, I watched this amazing documentary on chess, on math, on science. How cool is that? Right? It just shows like learning and being excited about learning is cross curricular and doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm a math teacher, so I can't talk about history. That's for someone else or anything like that. Um,
Hmm.
and again, that's kind of the opposite of what we're trying to instill in any student is just like be interested in everything. Like just because don't feel you can't dabble in anything because either you don't have experience or you haven't done it yet, right?
Well, and it's all yoga. It's all yoga. Like it all is in some layer and realm. It was funny. It's funny that you say that because not that this is was necessarily like a learning environment, but we watched Jurassic Park last night.
We did.
Um,
It holds up.
and
It holds up.
I mean, everybody needs to watch Jurassic Park.
Yes.
It's a good, terrifying summer movie to watch.
It's great.
Um, but there's this moment where Dr. Grant pulls what's her name? What's the little girl's name?
Lex.
Lex pulls her out of the vehicle when the T Rex is attacking. Spoiler alert. If you didn't see this movie in 1993, we're spoiling it for you now.
Well, like, how
He
can we
pulls
be
her out
like,
of the
yeah, it's where
vehicle.
they clone dinosaurs and make up an amusement park, and like, do you have like you could have been born under a rock to be like, oh, I kind of see where this movie is going. Pretty
Yeah,
boring movie
sure.
if everything worked and was fine. Yeah. So sorry. Pulls her out of the
Be
car.
like it'd be like the dazed and confused version of the movie where they're just all hanging out with dinosaurs.
What a subversive hangout movie, right? Like you make a hangout movie in the most like unrealistic sci-fi kind of fantasy.
Hmm.
It's like I want to
Hmm.
see a hangout movie set in the Shire with like wizards
Definitely.
and dragons, and it's just they're just hanging out. There's no like
I mean, it's
big
basically what a
quest.
Ren Fair is.
That's the next movie we're writing for Wi-Fi Studios.
Oh, I love it.
We're all I don't know if we've
Anyway,
talked about we're all writing a buddy cop movie, but I'll get to that later. So yeah, she pulls out of the car,
anyway, pulls her out
pulls
of
her
the
out of the
car
car.
and she like is kneeling, but she's up on her knees and she just freaking screams her little face off. Like she
Mm.
just screams, right? And like I'm like, what a brilliant trauma release. Like like this is a very traumatizing situation for a child to be in. And she just screamed. Like if the dinosaur wasn't still in the perimeter of going to kill them, eat them, um, if she'd just been allowed to scream, she would have been able to release so much of that trauma in her body, like scream and shake. And so, although this was not a continuing education scenario, I'm just watching a silly movie, it's immediately like, that's a thing that we don't do enough
Mm.
in yoga. Like we will shake our bodies, we will sing. There's laughter yoga. There definitely needs to be screaming yoga. There needs
Oh
to
my
be
god.
screaming. Yeah,
Scream yoga.
scream. Let's go scream.
What?
You make like a soundproof booth that you just go in and you just scream. Scream.
Oh, we should add
Primal
that into
scream yoga.
Primal Scream Booth is the new
Hmm.
studio space amongst everything else, amongst the aerial yoga, amongst the salt baths. We're gonna have primal
Salt.
scream
Do
tubes, salt rooms. Yeah,
you imagine?
primal scream room.
It's
Come in
just,
here, a soundproof room. You pay. You can get a 2 minute session or a 5 minute session, and you just scream, and we just
you scream.
soundproof the heck out of it. I love that
Hmm.
idea. I say we do
Yeah.
it. Oh, that's brilliant.
I
Man, we
mean,
have so many good ideas when we're
we
not talking about the thing we're supposed to be talking about.
this is exactly what we're supposed to be talking about. It it all came back to like the awareness that if you're in a field and you're working to do something that you are so into,
Hmm.
which I hope. that people who are listening to our podcast, hanging out in our community, taking trainings, teaching yoga, like are into this world, then it doesn't, then everything that you engage in as like an observer, a receiver could be continuing education because you're going to relate it back to the work that you're doing. You're going to bring it in to the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
If I can watch Jurassic Park and have it be on my mind around like trauma healing because I'm teaching
Right.
rebirthing and I'm teaching private sessions right now, like in a private session with a yoga student, like we could mute and scream and nobody would hear, but like you would get that energy out. And
Right.
so it's not totally off topic, it's a little tangential, but it's like whatever it is that you're learning and absorbing has potential to be fuel for the
Mm.
work that you're here to do in the world. And that's what continuing education is about in my, in my brain. It's not about like, oh, I've got to do this. That was the piece that I didn't really love about the structure when we were still teaching public schools. It was like where
Right.
sometimes it felt too like it was, this is this thing that we have to do. So like the
Yeah.
district, I mean, I worked for a district once that was like, you have to come in on a professional development day and you have to listen to this person talk about a topic, and that is going to be your continuing ed certificate for the year, and you can file it with the
Oh.
Department of Ed. And it's like, how do you know that we're like that this is even something that we're longing for to bring it to
Right.
incorporate into our classroom? If you would just let us have a little bit more freedom in this
Right.
capacity and trusted teachers that we're going to choose things that feel like, again, you're learning, but you're also filling your cup so that you can be present to teach and feel like things are coming from a place of abundance. Like you're not just running on
Right.
fumes.
Like what is, when you said like filling your creative cup or doing things that get you excited about the teaching, whether it be in the yoga field or like we used to do like history and social studies in a high school. I remember when we went to Gettysburg, um, it was like maybe one of the first few times. It was the first ghost tour in Gettysburg that we went on
Mm.
together, and it must have been Memorial Day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember watching and listening to the tour guide tell stories, and I was just so inspired. Like he was such a good storyteller, and they were so fascinating. I mean, it's like it's not hard to make ghosts in Gettysburg interesting, right? But it's probably easier than you think to make them not interesting, right? Like you could, if you don't have the gift of storytelling, or if you have someone who doesn't care about it but like has to do it, they're not going to have the same juice to tell that story. And he was just so good. He was so good. Like I think he might have been the best storyteller of any tour that we've been on.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have gone on other ghost or dark history tours that I think were better in some ways. Like the one in Ireland was awesome, but I still think that first guy was such a. And the one in Nashville was also really cool, and I really like that tour guide. But there was just something about that first one. He was just so good, and that got me. I remember being excited to go back to the classroom, right, and like get to that kind of work. So, but
I mean, you
I don't
were
think
so lit up by that
it was so
ghost
cool. It
tour.
was so good.
You were so amped.
But I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I could be like, oh, I went on a ghost tour in Gettysburg. Can this count for some of my professional development? They wouldn't go for it. Because it's like, why? Like, this doesn't make any sense. You don't even teach this
Right.
history. You teach ninth grade, and it's like
Right.
not about your thing. And it's like that, like narrow-minded thinking about what what could be considered something that develops you professionally or personally is so limiting.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
mean, for me, particularly in the realm of teaching yoga, is it's like yoga teacher burnout is high, and often it is because personal practice has been replaced
Mm.
by I'm teaching too many freaking classes a week. So I don't have time for myself. I don't have time to do the things that nourish me and nurture me. Um, and so I think that continuing education within the realm of yoga teachers is like, you're not just learning a thing because you want to add it to your brand, right? Like you're learning
Right.
a thing, like this is growing your personal practice and staying true to honoring the path that is in front of you. So like, that's what it is for me with like being a yoga teacher trainer. Um, it's like CEUs is how you stay deeply connected to your own path and deeply connected to being inspired and making sure that you're in integrity. I just see a lot of yoga teachers out there that kind of lose that initial, this is why I'm so psyched to be a yoga teacher. This is why I'm so amped up to be able to offer these things out to the world. And over time, it feels like the hustle outweighs the all the things that at one point lit them up.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, it's like CEU opportunities. It's like, first of all, refresh your experience of being embodied in yourself. And then also, like, go a little deeper into something that maybe was only like brushed the surface in the 200 or 300 or
Mm.
whatever hour training that you're taking, right? Because there's only so much time in a training. So it's like, yeah, I just feel like it's a good it's a good habit to get into as a yoga teacher to be like, what is calling to me right now? And, is it learning Sanskrit? Is it understanding the nervous system? Is it like whatever it is? And then like follow that curiosity without necessarily this like hyper focus on return on investment, because I hate that question, that like particularly in the, I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy or in this capacity. Like, I'm like, you're investing in learning something. Like,
Hmm.
how do you even measure
Right.
that investment? And I hate that language in the field of education in particular. And it's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's in higher ed, it's in corporate education, it's in yoga teacher trainings. It's like the outside of like, how is this going to help me make more money, get more clients, blah, blah, blah. Like, how is this just going to keep me inspired and keep
Hmm.
me connected to my own personal practice of movement, um, or mantra or breath work, but also like, how is it going to keep me connected to the experience of being a student and being new
Yeah.
at something? I'm not knowing. So good.
Yeah. That's an experience that not many people continue to seek out as they get older and then, excuse me, and go through life, right? Like it's so easy to be like, oh, I'm so unwilling to be comfortable to do something new or try something new and put yourself in that position because it's a great empathy teacher. People don't want to sign up for empathy lessons because they're hard.
Well, and I mean, we've had entire episodes about educational trauma, right? So it's like, if I've figured out a thing that I'm good at and I'm getting paid to do the thing that I'm good at, why would I actively seek out places where I'm not the smartest in the room and I don't
Right.
know what I'm doing and I don't know anything about this? Like, that experience, I think, is worthwhile in and of itself, because it just reminds you of like what a lot of your students are going to come to your classes like being like, I don't know anything about breath work, or do I even belong here? Like, when was the last time you were in a situation where you're like, oh, I don't know shit about anything that's happening here, and
I
and
know.
I want to know. Like, I'm here to figure out that these things that I don't know. And that is a very uncomfortable place to be in.
Yeah, I mean, how many people that I mean, I know that we both know basically operate with the point of view of like, oh, if I try something new and I'm not awesome at it right away, I'm not going to keep doing it. I can't stand that. I hate that so much. So much. I just want to be like, you've learned to do everything in your life. Like you were born knowing nothing. You know nothing. You've learned everything. Everything that you can do, you learn to do. Stop it.
It's such a sad shame story.
I know. Is it a shame story?
Mm-hmm. At
Is it?
some point, yeah, it's educational trauma. At some point, they were shamed for
Yeah,
not
I
knowing a
was shamed.
thing.
I had shame around educational trauma, but I loved it learning new shit.
Well, you're a Virgo and an Enneagram 1, and you have some things that counterbalance the shame, like
Like what?
wanting to know and to know that you know
Well, yeah.
is more alluring to you. It's funny, we were talking in office hours today about how like some people comfort, like the typical um definition of comfort is like cozy, easy, you know, safe, quiet. Like this is how people would describe comfort. But then there are also people that would describe comfort like either they couldn't describe comfort or essentially what they would describe is that all of those things that you associate with comfort is extraordinarily uncomfortable to them.
Hmm, really?
And so therefore their comfort zone is being uncomfortable.
Hmm.
But that's not like most people just totally avoid discomfort at all costs, the majority of
Oh yeah.
people.
Oh,
And
for
not
sure.
knowing is a source of discomfort.
Well, I think the best way, I mean, to be comfortable with being uncomfortable is like to just get a new hobby. You know what I mean? It's like I'm thinking back to my Chasing Scratch golf podcast I listen to, and part
Mm-hmm.
of among the coaches they speak to is like being comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's like that's where the learning happens. The learning doesn't happen when you're comfortable. So understanding that that will happen and then being okay with it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, yeah, I think it's like getting over this fear of what it could mean if you don't know something and
Yeah, sure.
instead approaching it like our lives are so short and there's so much to know out there. Like,
Mm,
I'm not going to know everything. You can't know
right.
everything. Um,
Don't tell
so,
that to a Virgo. They will try.
so who cares?
I was gonna say, who
And
no one gives a shit, right? Everyone around you doesn't care. Does that make it easier? It's like no one gives a shit.
hmm,
I mean, is
yeah,
that
like
part of it?
where does it come from? Like that fear of, well, if I don't know, I'm gonna be left out and excluded. You know,
Is
like
it is it mm,
I can speak about it from like okay, I don't know anything. Well, I know very minimal information about sports, like how they work, how to play games, what the rules
sure.
are, what you're supposed to be doing. And on top of it, I have like very limited athletic capacity. And I'm terrible whenever there's like spatial anything going on. So I'm like, you can kick a ball in a general direction and cross my fingers that the universe intervenes, but it's highly unlikely that it's going to go where I thought it was going to go. Um, but like, if I show up where this is the language that people speak and the thing that is very high value in that community and culture. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this and I don't know how to do this well. There's that fear of, well, then you're not invited. You're going to
Mm.
be kicked out. You can't be here. So it's that it pokes at the abandonment wound that people have a lot of times because they're not going to fit in. And not fitting in means that you're out. That's very scary.
Well, it's that and like the you're not good enough. Where I mean, geez, if you think about our educational and athletic systems, right? It's like what are the worst teachers and the worst
So
coaches?
competitive.
Well, it's not even the being competitive, which people just like to use that word when they actually mean they like when they say, "Oh, I'm so competitive." I think they're misusing the word. The word you're looking for is asshole because it's not like I'm
Matthew
competitive.
O'Neill.
I am a firm believer if you are justifying your shitty behavior by saying you're competitive, you're actually an asshole. I can be competitive about something. Like you I if someone was like, "Let's play a round of golf." I will be competitive. I will not like flip out if I lose. I won't throw any clubs. I won't have a temper tantrum. I'm not going to do anything to embarrass myself or hurt myself. You know what I mean? It's like I
Hmm.
can still be a good sport. I can still be a nice person. I can still be fun to be around and be competitive at the same time. You can
Hmm.
do both. Like just because you want to yell and scream, that doesn't make you competitive. Um, but that's what a lot of the culture is in some sports in some parts of the country. You know what I mean? So like not uncommon. If I mean, geez, how many poll any person that played sports throughout their life, and I'm sure they'd be like, who was the best coach, who's the worst coach? And I bet all the worst ones had a lot of similar qualities. Same thing with teachers. It's like, who's the worst teacher you've ever had? And it's like
Hmm.
a lot of similar qualities, right? So it does not produce lifelong learning when the first go around, when your brain was still goo, was filled with trauma, basically.
Right. I mean, we're just
Yeah.
back to educational trauma around it.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, and I don't necessarily feel like I walk around with a lot of it still, like alive
Hmm.
within my body or my energy field. And I mean, remember when you dropped me off at school last
Yes,
year?
I do. It was like watching and when we dropped off Abby for her freshman year. There were tears.
I
Probably, I
mean,
don't know.
what happened? Like it's just that. It's like I'm getting dropped off for orientation weekend for my doctoral program, and you're getting ready to leave my room. And I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing here? I can't do this. This is the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life, thinking that I could do this.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
totally freaked out. Totally freaked
Yeah,
out. Like
I know.
it's just that discomfort that's like I know that in this room there's going to be so many things that I don't know. There's going to be
Hmm.
so many new experiences that I will have zero control over. There's going to be so many variables. Like it's just a whole bunch of overwhelm. And I think that a lot of times that fear prevents, right? Whereas it's like, I'm going to have the fear, like, let's all make no mistake that I'm going to freak out about doing the thing that I'm brand new at doing and feeling like it's overwhelming and it's scary and it's a lot. And all of that can be true. And you can do it anyway. And one of the greatest gifts of that experience was like 3 weeks later, we launched our fall programs. And I was like, oh, yeah,
Mm.
there's potentially a significant contingent of students in this cohort that's crying in their dorm room right now, right? Like that's
Yeah.
feeling like I have taken 5 yoga classes in my life. Like, what am I doing here? Or whatever the internal dialogue is. And so I think like continuing education is so beyond like this is what Yoga Alliance says you're supposed to
Hmm.
do, or your 200 hour didn't teach you about the chakra system and the energy or subtle body. Cool. Um, that's a great awareness to have. And you might not ever walk into teaching a yoga class and think, well, this yoga class would have been 100 times better and twice as full if I was talking about, Manipura chakra in the middle of it. Like, that might not actually be true. but the experience of learning
Mm-hmm.
something that piqued your curiosity
Yeah.
is going to change how you hold space in a classroom for your students. I just
Yeah.
think it is.
That's great. I love that. I had so many thoughts. I was thinking about like you that experience you were going through when I dropped you off. And also I remember, well, in my head I'm like, remember when you were nervous about like applying? You're like, am I going to get in? I'm like, are you going to get in? Are you serious? Of course you're going to get in. I'm like, what are you nervous about? You're going to be the smartest person in that room. I'm like, what are you ridiculous? Um, but it makes me think a couple of things. One is that I think there can be moments you have that when they're presented to you to unlearn or like conquer that trauma in a lot of ways. Because I mean, at least for me, I remember when I was getting my master's in library science, a professor said something. We were supposed to have a draft of a project, first draft of a project handed in by a date. I handed it in, and his feedback started with the phrase, "quote I'm sure it is no surprise to you when I say that this will need a lot more work." And I didn't read the rest of what he wrote. I emailed him back and I said, "Don't assume anything about me. Never speak to me that way again. I'm a student, you are my teacher, and I don't appreciate your condescending tone. Just tell me what to do or tell me what your feedback is and leave your opinions in your head or basically keep them to yourself." And I didn't even hesitate. I was like, this was like, I'm like, oh no, you didn't. Don't even start. But I never would have. Like, I remember stories of being an undergrad and a teacher saying something basically like that to me, and it was just crushing. It was like, oh my god, I felt like so small, and um, oh man, I have not recovered from that instance because I still, whenever I think about it, I'm like, oh, that son of a bitch. Arrgh. Um, but like in that moment, I was just like, yeah, no, sir, we're not doing this, so you can can it. And he didn't respond to any of that. He didn't like was like he responded nothing. He just gave me feedback after that. Um, but it was that moment where I just go back to like, you're just a stupid person too. We're all just dumb human
We're all
beings.
just humans.
We are. So like, why don't we just can the attitude? Is the one thing. So like that was a pivotal moment for me. So like in any other scenario, I'm like, oh, we're not doing this. I'm not. You are not making me feel this way. This isn't happening. So I'm over that. And I also thought as you were talking about that scene in Bull Durham. You remember after Nuke gets called up and then Crash goes to see
Mm,
him in the locker room the next morning before he leaves, and he says, you got to be cocky and arrogant even when you're getting beat. And then it's like that's like how to behave or how to like the attitude of learning something new of like the comfort zone. It's like be cocky and arrogant, like approach it with like such like unabashed confidence, and just like
mm.
I'm the smartest person in this room. Of course I can do this. I am going to be the best at this, and then just still holding on to that even if you're getting beat. Who cares, right? So like that's what kind of I was
I
thinking of is
love
like
that.
how to approach learning, be cocky and arrogant even if you're not getting it right
Well, I
away,
love that
right?
because that would never be my approach ever. So, like, this is just one of my favorite things about whenever we talk about a topic like this, because it definitely feels like he said, she said scenarios of just like, when we were listening to that Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus book,
Yeah.
where were we driving? North Carolina?
uh I think we were driving to Iowa.
We were driving to Iowa?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
In the winter, I think, right?
In the winter. But it's just because my brain goes, you're not going to be the smartest in the room, and neither is anybody else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's so irrelevant, so like I would never approach it like be cocky, be arrogant, even if you're failing. I'd approach it like, I'm failing, and everyone else that's in this room has failed also. Like, at some point, this is just so not, it doesn't need to be a defining factor, right?
Sure.
And the most important thing, it's like I always say with when we're playing games or when the kids did sports or when you were still coaching, right? It's about skills and friendships. This
Skills
is
and
what this is about.
friendships.
Skills and friendships. And I feel that way about any kind of learning opportunities. It's like, are you going to feel hopefully in the right learning environment with people, with educators that also have a good relationship with humility and not leading or teaching from the ego,
Mm.
um, you're going to have an opportunity to stretch outside your comfort zone. You're going to have an opportunity to connect with people that you haven't gotten a chance to connect with before. And there's going to be some inspiration. And what's true for me is even in the moments where I have enrolled in programs where I'm like, this is the worst program I've ever been in my life. I'm not going to name what any of those
Hmm.
programs were. Like, even in those moments, I was inspired because I was like, I will never run a program this way,
Sure. Oh yeah,
you
there's
know?
always usually something to learn or a new way to look at it and be
There's
like,
just a thing
right.
to
I'd
take out
also like to
away
say,
from it.
right. I'm also like to say I'm not advocating for you to be mean to people in these scenarios. If you're going to go in and be cocky and arrogant, don't yell it. Don't be mean to people. Maybe
No.
be cocky and arrogant in your own brain. I should clarify. Uh,
Internally cocky and arrogant.
yeah, internally.
Yeah.
Internally
Yeah.
is the best.
I just am
Do you?
like internally, like, we're all a bunch of goofballs. Like, what are we even doing? We're just goofing around. It's fine. It's
I know
fine.
we only got like probably 30, 40 years, 50 years if we're lucky left on this planet. I mean, we're just goofing around. In the
We're just
grand
goofing
scheme,
around.
this is a minute little thing. This is
Yeah.
yeah.
What are
Do
we
you
here
want
to do?
to? What are we here to do? Talk briefly, or just at least mention any of the CEUs that we at Yoga Farm have done, or will do, or are doing.
Well, I mean, first of all, I would say that every summer, we encourage people to sign up for like self-paced things because it's summer. So you can move through stuff when you have flexibility. You don't have to be at a live class at any given time. And so all of our CEUs that are self-paced courses are on sale over the summertime. So it's just a great time to think about, like, oh, if you know that you want to think about teaching Kundalini through the chakras, then you might want to pick up the course of Kundalini 102, which is moving through the chakra system. Um, so definitely check out all of those things. And then I mean, I want to more say, like, don't approach taking a course as in like, this must be my next side hustle slash
Right. Yeah.
path, right? And let it just be for learning's sake. It's
I
been
mean,
in those moments that I actually have felt like I've incorporated the most of what I've learned into teaching and into like the very practical application of being in the yoga teaching field. But like, if I only limited myself to thinking like, well, I know exactly how this is going to fit into me teaching
mm,
yoga weekly, is if I take another anatomy course. Like, at some point, I know enough anatomy to teach yoga. I'm not diagnosing people with things. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not trying to, you know, enter that level of uh, working with human bodies. So, like, probably know enough about that. And I can't tell you how taking an astrology course is going to play into my teaching yoga practice, but I
right.
guarantee it will.
Yeah.
Guarantee it will.
Well, it's like take it. I mean, approach it as like what electives are intended to be. Like in school, it's like, why do I have
Love
to take
that.
this random class? And it's like the idea of like, yeah, it's random. It's something different. It's not on your path. Or maybe you take it without having any intention of using it in your field, but like, who knows what you'll take away from it, right?
What is the most outside of your realm of learning and comfort elective that you took in college?
I took a fencing class for gym. I hate to say it comfort zone because it was like sword fighting. I was just like, this is fucking the coolest shit ever. Um, but I had never done anything outside of waving around a cardboard tube like a Jedi and it was like, okay, I'm gonna like learn the rules, learn the technique, and it's just like it was very physical. It was so physically demanding. You wouldn't think this the stance. It was like basically being in a mild squat for an hour. So it was physically demanding, which was then mentally kind of demanding
Hmm.
too. So that was pretty cool. I did acting one in high school. I took another acting elective in college, and that was very outside the comfort zone, um, and with the intention of like the intention were like I think I could do it, and also like I have no idea what I'm doing, and let's push these boundaries of what I think I'm capable of, and what can I get out of it. Who knows? You know,
Yeah.
how about you?
Yeah. Hmm. Trying to think of something that, I mean, I would probably say that the class that was the least on brand for the rest of the classes I was taking, particularly in my undergrad, was like children's literature. I took
Yeah,
like we read like Charlotte's Web
mm-hmm.
and like and talked about just what these stories brought into our lives. And so like a lot of people who were taking that class were going to be librarians or
Right.
they were going to be elementary teachers, and I was going to be neither of those things. Um, but I was just like, oh, I know that I'm going to spend a lot of time. I mean, I was getting a dual bachelor at that point. So it was education, bachelor, and then a bachelor's of history. And I knew it was all going to be like, we're reading primary source documents. I was doing
Right.
genealogical research at that point. Everything was nonfiction, um, and very like cerebral. And so taking that course was like, I just got to play in this and
Yeah.
be in like fantasy and not once have I used any of those books in anything I've ever taught in my entire life. Um, and so, I mean, I will say, I'll fully disclose, admit that I had small children at that
Mm,
time. And so, I felt like it was more about like my personal life
mm-hmm.
and journey and reading those things to them and having that also be part of my schoolwork, which felt pretty cool.
Right.
Than anything that had to do with like my career ideas or
Right.
path.
When I was in library school, I took a children's lit or something like that course, knowing, I mean, I was working in an elementary school library, knowing that this was not something I wanted to, where I didn't want to work, and I knew I was had no interest really in children's lit, really. But it was so cool. Like, also, I'm like, I'm not gonna. Will I use this? Who knows? Maybe. But it was just like, how can I? I mean, this is directly related to the field, so it's like then it was like, oh, this will help me be a little bit more well-rounded or introduce me to
Well
things or
rounded.
ideas, right? That like I normally wouldn't find on my own, right? It's like every now and then when I go to the Friends of the Library book sale, I'm like, okay, today I'm going to go look for books that I would not pick out in 10 trips to a bookstore. Like, what would I normally avoid? Not avoid, but what normally doesn't call to me, and go find something
Right.
like that. And that's kind of how that was, and it was very cool. So nice.
I love it.
Go learn something, everybody.
So just go learn something. Learn something for the sake of learning something.
Yeah.
It's a great plan.
It really is. Not enough. It doesn't happen enough. We should all try to do
Doesn't
more.
happen enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, honey. From
Thanks, honey.
from the studio and from the library for the Wi-Fi pod. This is Matt.
This is Jeannie.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.